Hello, I'm David Henry Lucas's avatar. I have written a series of books called The Rice Kings. Book 1, entitled, The Beginning, is the first in the series of the true life saga of one of history's finest inventors. From England to Charleston, South Carolina, join Jonathan Lucas and his family in this epic adventure. Prologue, Book 1. It was a time of beginnings. This was the inauguration of a new era for mankind, later called the Industrial Revolution by historians. Life was hard for all people, from antiquity up through the 18th century. The rich, the poor, and everyone in between struggled to survive. The odds were stacked in favor of the rich and powerful, as usual. They didn't have the daily drudgery of the lower classes, but they had the same susceptibility to disease, catastrophe, war, and the indifferences of life. In the 18th century, a group of Englishmen began to lift mankind out of its long dependence on the old traditional methods of powering production, namely muscle, wind, and water. These newer ways of powering industry spurred the Industrial Revolution. It was slow going at first, but gained headway before the gathering winds of advancement. This is the story of one of the families whose men added to the parade of improvements. Those innovations helped spark a rushing flood of knowledge and know-how in what continues to float the ship of mankind's progress higher and higher with ever-increasing rapidity. To modern man, quick advances and innovation are now considered normal. This was not always true. Today, change is welcomed with pleasant anticipation. Conquering a millennium of inertia, these men and women of the Enlightenment championed knowledge and progress over tradition. These advances came often at great personal risk. Sometimes the resistance came from the ancient authorities who opposed progress as coming from the devil, or from the difficult natural obstacles presented by Mother Nature herself. The people in the forefront weren't necessarily cognizant of leading mankind to a brighter future, but usually were in competition for money, power, and of course, amour. This was a time when if you could build a better mousetrap, then you built it and society rewarded you by buying your product. Follow the adventures of Jonathan Lucas as he lives, learns, and loves his way through 18th century England. You can continue the journey by getting your copy of the Rice King series at davidhenrylucasbooks.com or Amazon Books. I hope that you enjoy traveling through time with the Rice Kings.